Welcome to Navigating Now. This is episode 267. I'm Nicole Diehl, your host, alongside here Anthony Ewing, and we are so excited for this topic. I don't even know if I can say excited. That's kind of an understatement. But we're going to be unpacking ChatGPT. Is it a cognitive partner or perhaps a cognitive crutch? Shall we just dive in?
Absolutely. Cheers.
Okay. Cheers to this conversation. Let's start off with this. What do we need to accept? Because I got to say, for me, like ChatGPT, especially in the era of Gen AI, it took me a little bit to recognize like this is a tool that's going to be here and it's not going anywhere.
Yeah, I'd say I feel like we are at this collective moment of the intersection of doom and delight for AI. And I think we're all trying to figure out how to effectively bring it into our lives without it drastically shifting who we are.
As professionals and just people.
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. To your question though, I do think that there is a general acceptance that is happening maybe. And slowly but surely, I think most folks realize that we cannot put the genie back in the bottle, essentially, with AI. And I do think, in the first few years, call it 2021 to 2024, there was this sense that we had the ability to kind of modulate the way that this technology would come into our lives. But at the end of the day, I'm not saying it's uncontrollable. It has the horse has left the stable though.
Yes.
And it is reaching critical mass. And so it's more important now than ever to kind of understand how to use it, how to leverage it, and how to create, good boundaries and barriers.
Totally. And I'm so excited to have you here because I said, you know what, who do I know that in these walls of our office in Chicago, who do I know is using ChatGPT on the regular? And it's none other than this guy. So if you were just to like walk into our office, you would hear it's either me or him having like a little conversation with chat, kind of like a friend, a confidant, sometimes, just a thought partner. And that's kind of where I want to start the conversation with chat, maybe being like a thought partner where it's helping you think better, but not think for you. And I think more so, I know a lot of people are worried that it's kind of taking place of our ability to problem solve and critical think. So I think the beauty is, especially for extroverts such as ourselves, like using it to externally process is such a key just benefit that it offers. So I'd love to hear, like, how are you using it? We'll start professionally and then we'll maybe go into the personal side of the house.
Well, I want to put a little bit of a bookmark in what you just said, because I think it was really powerful that we can leverage AI to support our communication preferences. Like, what a wonderful use case. And as an extrovert myself, I do get energy from being around others and expressing my thoughts almost sometimes as they're coming to me. As out extroverts, we talk and process at the same time. I think ChatGPT and AI can be a wonderful partner for that type of real-time processing and real-time thought partnership. It's interesting. Before we came into this episode, literally a minute before we went live, I looked at Nicole and I said, I'm coming into this episode just 10 minutes ago. I think my relationship with AI peaked.
This light bulb went off. It's like, what happened? Do you want to tell me now, or do you want to wait?
No, I'll tell you. This is because you had asked kind of like how we can leverage it as a thought partner. Definitely have just over the last week or so. Again, as I'm kind of sifting through both sides of the sentiment, there was a viral article that was published over the weekend by Citrini Research that many of you probably have heard of. It went viral, and it was about kind of the doom side of AI, and it was a forward-looking perspective, kind of standing in 2028, looking back, and it wrote the story of how AI impacted our lives over the last few years, and it was pretty dark. It essentially, the research, the article suggested that in 2028 there could be a mass extinction of white collar jobs, and particularly knowledge workers, and then that impacting what they're calling ghost GDP, which means machines are doing all of our work. We're at home and we're not spending money. and that could crumble an entire economy.
Heavens, it could.
Right. So, so that's maybe one of the extreme ends of kind of the doom side. And I think, it's our responsibility to temper that a little bit with some reality. And the reality is it's going to take time for this technology to really make its way through. And the reality is, I think the human race has enough character and enough courage to be able to kind of pave the path for this new technology, as opposed to it taking over. I will balance that with, the anecdote that I shared with a couple folks today that really allowed me to have a huge unlock in terms of how AI can shape even just my day to day. We were introduced to a new AI tool. The name of it's Lightfield. Shout out to Matt Cerna and the Lightfield team who gave us a little bit of a trial of this tool. And essentially, it's an AI tool that exists with you in your inbox, in your Gmail, in your calendar, and maybe most importantly in your meetings. Much like a lot of
integrated.
Much like a lot of the AI note takers and things of that nature. But it takes all of the information from your inbox and your calendar and your Google Drive and your Slack. It even takes every word that you speak in meetings, and it centralizes it and it learns from it. And you are then able to ask it questions about anything that you said. You're able to ask it to help you prep for the next meeting, and it has access to literally every piece of data that could potentially be tied to that meeting. And in terms of just simply preparing myself for more targeted and robust conversations with our clients, it was a massive unlock. We had a meeting earlier today with a client, and there was at the end there was a reference to who we should work with to send a contract to. And in the old days, that name would have completely, lost I would have lost that name right after the call, and I would have been reaching out to one of our teammates. Did you hear who they said that we should send the contract to? And it was a quick prompt like, hey, we had this meeting earlier. Who should we send this contract to? And the tool reminded me who it was. And this is
in real time.
In real time.
Wow.
And this is what allows me to, to become more productive and ultimately spend those 10 minutes on something that really matters. This is also what is making me excited about where this could be headed, where I get a little bit maybe overzealous, because I come out of this experience. I'm like, well, why wouldn't I want AI recording everything that I say?
That's a hot take.
Why would I not want it to support and supplement my everyday, relationships through helping me understand when people's birthdays are, what my best friend is struggling with, and how I might be able to support them. So that was my AI moment today.
Interesting.
Yeah.
It has me thinking like the role memory is going to play and how that's going to shift.
Ooh,
if it's
love that.
The hippocampus part of the brain that has to do with memory, like, is that going to shrink over time because we're not going to have to use it as much because we're outsourcing our memory?
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think there is a phenomena. I can't remember the name of it. There's a phenomena that describes how we can become reliant on these LLMs, and I think we've all maybe experienced this, where you start to use AI consistently for certain aspects of your work, and then you try to do that without the crutch, and it feels weird. Like it feels like, oh my gosh, like I need to run this through ChatGPT, when really, like 12 months ago, when ChatGPT was not even part of our technology stack, I would have done that manually. For like 20 years, I was doing that manually.
Yeah.
And within 12 months, I struggle to perform certain everyday tasks without the support of ChatGPT. And that's something that, we are either going to have to really accept as like, it will take over a lot of common everyday tasks.
Yeah.
And maybe even some of the knowledge work that we do. Or, we can continue to create some recall, like some exercises where we tune out of the technology for a bit. And we continue to exercise the hippocampus and all the aspects of our brain that we're going to need well beyond, ChatGPT, hopefully.
And I think another thing to consider is the rules and call it like boundaries or ways of working that you can set up with, a tool like ChatGPT. So curious for you, we'll start maybe on the professional side of the house. When you're using it, do you have any like guardrails set on how it interacts with you.
Yeah, absolutely. And this gets back to, the technology should never run us or our thinking. It always should be a cognitive partner at the end of the day.
Mhm.
And to your point, I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this, because I think you're maybe even a little bit more mindful than even I am about, the balance here. I'm a little bit more freewheeling, but I will say there's certain parameters that I set on my work and that we've encouraged our team to use. One of those is that if we are putting together a piece of work, whether that's an interactive workshop or maybe a design document for an experience that we're designing for a client, or even a virtual course, our tendency can be to heavily rely on AI for that content development or designing the experience. We have a framework here, though, that allows for really good balance, and it's very simple.
It's the best sandwich, some people say.
It is the best sandwich. Yes. Yeah. Well, maybe not in Chicago, but
shout out JPGs.
Yes.
The best sandwich in Chicago.
Absolutely. The framework is just simply human, computer, human. So anytime that we're bringing AI in, particularly when it comes to work product, we ensure that we start with our own intuition, thinking, even our own emotion that might play into it, and more than ever, our own understanding of the customer, in this case, the learner. We then bring AI, ChatGPT, our tech stack into to augment, the initial ideas that we have scoped, the human-centered ideas. And we ask it to support our ideas with research, to pressure test our ideas, poke holes in it. One of the best questions you could ask ChatGPT is, "What am I missing here?"
Yep.
It's so good in those circumstances. And then we back it up. We bookend it then with the human filter. So anything that is supported and augmented with AI, we make sure then that we add a human element to it. We smooth it for human language. Again, we smooth it for making sure that it's applicable to our audience, that it has real human elements to it. Like, ChatGPT will never ask you to take a pause.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
No, it won't.
It never will.
Yeah.
Like you can prompt it all day long and it will always have an answer.
So tell me this. I have an assumption that chat knows a lot about Thaudium, knows a lot about our business. What does it know about Anthony? What have you told it to know about you?
Oh, man. Yeah, I mean, again, a little bit more, I'm maybe a little bit more of a freewheeler when it comes to this. I have really enjoyed piloting and testing, bringing AI into both my professional and personal life. Personally, it has become a thought partner for how I might approach different conversations or scenarios. It never scripts them for me, even though there are a lot of people out there that might have it script, difficult conversations or a hard text message to send. That never feels right.
No,
like I've toyed with that. It never feels right. It never feels right. And
I'll
I hope
say, like, prepping to prep for like a
Absolutely.
live conversation, it can be supportive, but the like copy and paste to a text and
totally.
it's a little dicey.
Yeah. And I think, again, we have responsibility to kind of test our edges. And that's one for me that I hope, we never cross. I hope that these language models never become my language, if you will. I will have to say personally, and this is, again, it has, this depends on your willingness to kind of try and your threshold for transparency, but healthcare, for me personally, and even for some of my family members, like to understand what's going on with myself, my family members, whether it be something that somebody's dealing with, or in many cases, triangulating what you're hearing from multiple doctors.
Oh, so good.
Which is not happening in today's healthcare system. Nobody is playing quarterback for if you've got to see two specialists here and your primary care is saying something here. It doesn't exist. It doesn't even exist for those specialists. They're barely getting information, passed amongst them. So I have found that AI can be an amazing kind of point person for triangulating that and getting, second, third, fourth opinions.
Yeah. I've also used it similarly, and it's maybe, trying different milligrams of a prescription, just documenting like how is it, what's, what am I feeling, behaviors, how that continues to kind of unfold. Therapy sessions, if we're going personal.
Ooh, tell me more.
Like, you'll have a good 60-minute session with your therapist. And it's like, okay, I still want to unpack a few things or just make note of it so I can come back to it. And for me, my like first line of expression is usually writing down. So I'll journal, or I'll do like a voice to text.
Yeah.
And I'll do that not usually through chat first. I have like an electronic journal where I can just like click on and I'm doing a voice memo for myself to come back to later. And if it's something that I kind of want to unpack with another lens or perspective, I'll then put it through chat. But it's just me hearing myself process it out loud. I start to learn because, again, external processor.
Oh, this is cool.
I'm processing emotions, thoughts, and if I'm willing and looking for other perspectives, then I'll ask chat to come in.
And do you take the audio file and just like drop it in?
So I'll have the audio translate into the transcript. I'll put the
What do you use for
in.
that?
It's called Day One.
Oh, cool.
Journal.
Great. Yeah. That is really cool. If you're using a digital journal to allow or to leverage AI to kind of like augment or even make connections that you might not even be making. That's really cool. Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely so many use cases.
Use cases. I'll share also when I think of like what chat knows about me. So I'm a big, this personality preferences, cognitive functions, how that shows up. So chat knows that I'm an extrovert. I love to focus on details. I'm a big feeler, and that I'm a perceiver. So people who know Myers-Briggs, type coach, ESFP. And I want chat to know that because I want to grow and expand my thinking outside of what feels natural. So chat knows that I'm trying to bring more of a systems lens or systems awareness, not just to my professional life, but my dating life. So we can get there. Also balancing like the logic and the feeling, like how can I step into maybe it's a workshop and I want to bring more of like an objective lens and what do I need to like, business context, what's important that I might not think of firsthand. Left a really good date. Let me just name, and I'm not analyzing the person, but I want to just name how the date unfolded. Maybe some patterns of behavior. Like, is this something I should come back to? So it helps me stay more objective and logical.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I mean, you bring up a really great use case that we can use in and outside of work, which is like role playing, I think is maybe what you're speaking to. And I this is where I do think AI can support a lot of the sales enablement and training kind of teams out there. And I've seen it used really well in coming up with real world scenarios that you might need to work through or speak to, coming up with very robust understandings or customer profiles and asking you questions on how you would handle this customer versus this. I mean, these are things that existed, but we would have to bring an agency in to spend 6 months to develop these ICPs. And we would then build training around these ICPs. Now, again, I keep saying this, like the world's information is free. So we no longer have to, spend time kind of developing all this content. Content is a commodity. So for us, that means we can focus more on the experience. So for example, if we don't have to spend 6 months developing, customer profiles and scenarios to support them, we can then focus on what is the best possible role play learning experience. We have the content, and that content is like literally dynamic. It's up to the date. We can refresh it and update it with AI tools. But our job then is to say we've got 30 sales reps in a room, and we really want to take them through, understanding objection handling through role playing. I will tell you, AI, there's no AI that's going to give you the perfect answer to that. We know our customers. We know the environments that they work in. We know even some of their, again, communication styles and preferences. AI doesn't have that kind of customer intuition that it would take to sit down and say, okay, what does a really great 2-hour experience look like? And so if we can kind of offload the content development, we can spend more time on the experience. And that's why we here at Thought Team, we're doubling down on human-centered experiences. That's always been a part of our mission. But we're double and tripling down on it this year for a couple of reasons. One, because we see a lot of organizations that are just kind of throwing their hat in the AI ring. Over the last 6 months, I can't tell you how many professional development and consulting companies have kind of slapped the term "We are your AI transformation partner" on their homepage, and they're kind of like, they're moving into that area very quickly, and there's need for that. How do we help organizations leverage AI? It's almost as if it was so inevitable for us when this started happening for us to say, what do we do best?
Mm-hmm.
It's not leveraging technology tracks. It's really sitting in a room and thinking intentionally about the learning experience of an objection handling role play
The
workshop.
person at the
So
center.
let's spend more time on that, because we feel that the human-centered experience will be a differentiator, and we're here to make it a differentiator for you and your team.
I love that. That also has me thinking about another perspective that we have around like what's required of leaders now. And I'm going to call it like 3 different pieces. So intellect, lived experience or felt experience, and relationships. And what it seems like is AI is really good at augmenting the intellect side or the logic part of being a leader. But when it comes to building relationships and actually having your own lived experience, it won't ever be able to replicate. And so much wisdom and understanding comes from that side of the coin. That I think is going to become even more important. The more we focus on AI as a tool, we need to come in and focus so much more on the human.
Yeah. I'm curious, as a coach, how are you, potentially bringing AI into either your development as a coach or even your coaching relationships, or is that not happening yet?
First thought that comes to mind is it's happening outside of the session. So I think when I have time to just sit with and process a little bit more what happened in the session, sometimes some good like assignments or even like reflection prompts that I didn't come up with, but chat kind of came with. And I'll just, share, anonymously, of course, not giving chat the name of the individual, but just kind of unpack, how the conversation went. These are a few things that I think could support this person. How might we tighten that or provide just different options for homework and to test this out? Because people learn differently. So one person might want to like journal about something, or someone might want to go experience and practice something out in the world. So for me, it's like post-session follow-up. It provides some support. So it's the first thing that comes to mind. What about you?
I think it's definitely more on prepping me to be a better coach.
So going into the session.
Yeah, I've yet to feel compelled to and follow up as well too. I think that helps me prepare. But I've yet to bring any AI tool into my coaching conversations as a way to kind of augment their path with me. I'm sure that's coming. I haven't brought that in, because I think, again, what's happening is, the infiltration of AI is almost creating this opportunity for like purely human experiences. And for me, that might mean purely human coaching. To feel so differentiated. To know as a coachee that I'm not leaving this session knowing that it could have been done in a chat box. So I think it's a great tool to help us become better coaches. I don't know if we're there yet in terms of offloading the actual coaching.
I agree. I also think in my personal life how I'm using it almost as, I'll say like a pseudo coach. Like I'll have like a vision or like a goal that I really want to kind of unpack and see how can I execute on that. So I'm someone who's full of a lot of wonder and curiosity. And I think sometimes I get to a point of so much curiosity and wonder, it kind of stops there. And I don't think through the next few phases of how to galvanize it and like put it into action. So talking through that with chat has been helpful. And it's not even like, I already have the belief that it can be done. So I'm not saying chat's like instilling that in me. It's just helping me create more structure and concreteness to something that I already believe in.
I love that. Yeah, that feels like a cognitive partner.
Sure does. Not a crutch.
Gosh knows you have enough wonder.
Oh, thank you. A lot of wonder up here. I say it's my first time on this planet. Some people are like, I've been here before. I'm like, really? I haven't. This is my first time.
That's what we love about you.
Thank you. What else comes to mind? Like maybe another hot take or something that you want to share on this topic?
Yeah, I mean, I guess just in closing, I would say, again, embrace the dichotomy of the doom and the delight. Again, within the same 48 hours, I was reading a white paper that like had a pit in my stomach about how like all of our jobs are going away. And I had one of the most productive mornings today because my greatness was supported and augmented and illuminated with me not having to kind of focus on the tactical stuff.
Yeah.
So, I think, my biggest recommendation is to allow both to exist.
Both can be true.
A little bit of the unknown, and also a little bit of like just staying open to how this really can, augment our lives. And
Yeah.
it's kind of a fun place to be in, right?
It is.
Because I still feel very much in control in terms of my relationship with AI.
Yeah. And I think knowing you, it's because you have a lot of awareness of there's choice involved in
Yeah.
using a tool like that. And my hope is that people can realize you have more, I guess, agency in how you use it. And thinking, is this something that's helping me expand my, my vocabulary, my range as an individual, or is it kind of containing me?
Yeah.
Are you continuously coming back to this tool to say over and over again, this like issue you're running into, and there's this rumination and spiral happening? Like, that's probably not the best use for it.
Absolutely.
But if it's helping you gain, other perspectives, getting to name and process maybe emotions just out loud, reframing, ways of looking at things, I think it's just a really cool tool to help us expand.
Absolutely.
As opposed to contain.
Yeah.
Yeah. Great. Do you feel complete?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. Always.
Awesome.
Thank you.
Well, thank you.
Of course.
This was episode 267 of Navigating Now. You can count on us coming live to you every Thursday at 3 p.m. Central. You can find us at thoughtium.com/live. You can also find us on YouTube and Spotify. Fun facts. So we look forward to seeing you next week.
So long.